Well, hello, hello, and good evening. We are here for another episode of Behind the Lyrics. I am Elena Rodriguez, and I am the author of Crowned by Faith, which is what is bringing us here tonight. Hey, Denise, Queen. Hey, Christina. I got my queens on here. Thank you guys so much for being here. As you know, this is episode 3. We are covering chapter 3 in the Crown by Faith book. And every time I do this, I get nervous. It's just a thing. Hey, Madi, here I am, creator and president of Prospera TV Network. I do things like this all the time, but this project for me has been such a divine assignment. Okay, God actually called this project forward through me, and it is so personal that I get nervous. So thank you for being here. What is Crowned by Faith? First of all, Crowned by Faith is where we are right now. This is a book that was written, and I want you to think of it as experiences of mine that are just examples, because we all have our own experiences. We all have our own stories. So this book isn't just my story. My stories are just examples. And then we take you through a journey of looking at experiences through the lens of God's love. And when you can look at your own life experiences, clear back from when you were a little girl or a little boy to your adolescence, teenage years, till your early adulthood, maybe major screw ups, heartbreaks, bad decisions, like whatever it may be, when you can actually look at these moments differently, because they're not coming from your perspective and your experience, you can actually see them from what was God seeing? What was God doing? Where was God at that time? What purpose was all of this making in the bigger picture? When you could start looking at your experience from that viewpoint, it will change your life. And so that's what he called forward for me to do through this project. So we got Gina on here. Thank you. That's my sister Gina. So it has been great to have her be a part of this. And if my mama is watching on YouTube, she probably doesn't know how to comment. But if my mama's there, I love you both, and thank you so much for being here on this like whole ride, right? But through the project, okay, as I was writing through this book, then I started writing songs. Because let's be honest, sometimes songs can say more about how you're feeling or take you through this journey than simple words on paper. Sometimes you got to just feel the emotion through music. And if you guys watched the last episode, you know that I talked about my grandma in that episode, and music and dancing and just enjoying life through the music was such a huge part that was instilled in me growing up. And so music is a big part of my life. And so it just evolved into a soundtrack. And I want to make the disclaimer, I'm not singing, okay? So nobody think I'm out here trying to like sing, but I did produce, I did write, I did pull it all together. It's just not my voice. I have some AI assistance with the voice. So I want you guys to understand, I don't sing. If I could clear out a karaoke bar, and a really bad karaoke bar at that, I would still clear it out. I also want to let you know that as we break down the songs, okay, I'm just going to play little snips of the songs. These songs, the soundtracks, they are available on Spotify, Apple, iTunes. Like, I don't even know all the music platforms, Pandora, YouTube Music. I mean, there's 32 streaming platforms that the soundtrack is available at. So you can, if you just type in my name or you type in Crowned by Faith, I'm going to pop up, because we also do music for Prospera TV Network. So I basically have a label that I produce music for all of these different productions that we do. All right. So we're going to play, if you're new to what we're doing here at Behind the Lyrics, we're going to play little snips of music as we kind of piece through a couple chapters or a couple paragraphs here and there. But what I really want from you is I want to take you a little bit deeper, but sometimes I want to know if you guys have questions. And if anybody knows me, nothing's off the table. Okay, if you got questions, I'm going to answer. Mark your calendars now because next week is going to get busy because of Christmas. We are going to be here next Tuesday night, but I'm jumping ahead to the chapter called Christmas Eve because this episode on Tuesday will be airing the day before Christmas Eve. And that chapter is all about when my husband passed on Christmas Eve. So I want to dive into that chapter next week. And then we'll come back the following week and get back on the regular order. So I'm just letting you know that too. Okay. So Denise says, I always love how you start your chapters with a prayer. I am also on chapter 2. I love that. Thank you so much. And the whole soundtrack started with a prayer. So this one is called the Quinceañera Promise. Okay. And throughout all of these, I haven't shared photos. And I'm probably not going to share too many photos, but I did want to share. Number one, if you saw episode 1 or you read chapter 1 and it talks about the dust didn't define me, and we talked about how I was helping my dad load boxes into his trunk and watched him drive away, and that was like a trauma moment that I didn't even know was happening, that abandonment that I didn't understand. I want to share with you, this was his car. I described it in the chapter. It was a Corvette convertible. I described it with white wall tires. And I found this photo, and I think that's me sitting in the little passenger seat. You can see my little face peeking through, but that was actually the Corvette that he had restored, and that's the one that he drove off in. And so, I might share some photos here and there along the way, but as we begin tonight's the Quinceañera Promise, and last week we talked about my grandma, mi abuela, mi fe. So my grandma was such a huge part of everything in my life, but this is actually taken at my quinceañera. So now you have a visual. Maybe you don't even know what it is. Well, when you hear me talk about twirling in my white dress, that's my dress, and that's my sister with me. So I just wanted to make sure that we got that all squared away. So let's start with the Quinceañera Promise, because it kind of opens up what this is. It's called a dance, a letter, a boy, and a promise that shaped my heart forever. Okay. And in our culture, a quinceañera isn't just a party, it's a passage. A church mass to honor and thank God, then a reception where a girl steps toward womanhood, surrounded by family, sponsors, and a whole lot of music and dancing. Even in schools, where I'm one of the only minorities, my grandma had planted tradition deep in me. Faith, music, and the little rituals that make you feel like you belong to something bigger. So, of course, I wanted a quinceañera of my own. So this is kind of where it's a little tricky, because unless I was with my cousins at my grandma's on the weekends, my whole environment, I was the only minority. My parents moved to an area where they wanted us to have the best education possible, and I just was the only minority. All my friends were white, so it was really difficult to want to be so pulled to my culture and know that that was such a huge part of who I was and what I felt in my spirit, in my heart. But I was surrounded with people who didn't understand that, didn't know anything about it. So it was very conflicted. On the weekends, you go to the baile and party down. And then on Monday, I'm back to student council, cheer pom captain. It was very difficult. But with the quinceañera, I want to go ahead and start out with this first clipping of the song to just get us in the mode of where this one is going to take us this week. So here we go.
Underneath the moonlight, where the shadows play, she twirled in her white dress, kept the darkness at bay.
So you can tell that Danced Like a Queen is kind of a slower pace. It's going to get you in your feels a little bit. I remember I had sent a couple songs to some of my friends first when I was really kind of afraid of this whole concept. I thought, what are, even those of us that have done things like this for a long time, anytime you try something new and you know that it's kind of crazy and out there, you worry like, oh my God, what are people going to think? So I remember sending her, I was like, I wrote this book and I've made a soundtrack and here's a couple songs. Tell me what you think. And she like bawled and messaged me back. And this was the song for her that hit because it took her back to a time in her early teens that never left. Right. So we're going back, we're going nostalgic and all of that. So when we get into kind of the whole concept of Crowned by Faith, the root of all of the decisions, all of the heartbreak, all of the screw ups, like all of the pain was loss of love. And that's all I wanted, was just to be loved. A lot of times when we go through different layers of pain, we don't really look for the actual root of it. We look for a way to heal the current situation or how to get through the current circumstance. But if that's only the surface level that you're going, chances are you're going to find yourself in a similar situation or experience again. Because it's kind of like, think of weeds and they have a strong root. And even though you can clip it from the top and make it all pretty, before you know it, it's coming back up again because that root can be down there so deep. And that's how our pain works. Sometimes we'll go through a circumstance and we'll think we cleaned it up and phew, we got through that one. And then next thing you know, there's something else that you either can't believe you got here again, or how could I have made this choice again? Or why does this always happen to me? There's so many things that can repeat if you don't look for the root. So for me, that root started in chapter 1. When my whole life, I just felt unworthy of love because my dad left. And so many choices I made throughout my years were seeking that love, looking for that love from somewhere, from someone, somehow. So here we go. It's May 1989 at a Mexican dance for high school grads. Mexicans don't need much of a reason to gather. So naturally, I'm there with my grandma. We knew there was a baile celebrating graduates. Let's go. A father sings lead. His sons play the keyboard and the bass, and a nephew keeps time on drums. The room hums with cumbias and conversation, but for me, everything slows. Each time I glance toward the stage, the bass player's eyes find mine first. He's 14, like me, about to turn 15 in a few days. Later, I learn his birthday falls on the same day as my dad's. I take it as a sign. He lives in Illinois. I'm in Indiana. And somehow we exchange addresses. Yes, addresses. In 1989, there was no socials, no DMs. No texting, no cell phones, right? Any of that. But I start with this because, number one, have you ever looked at something and thought, oh, that's a sign. That's got to be a sign. So that's where this chapter starts and it takes you. Okay. And so with that, I'm going to take us to a clip 2. So here we go.
In a world full of wonder, as the music flows, In her dreams, she glowed. Promises whispered softly, sweet nothings to hold. Yet in the whispers lingered a story yet untold.
So needless to say, we met at this dance in May. Okay, it was just days before his 15th birthday. I was still 14, but my quinceañera was that July. So we're talking May, June, July, just 8 weeks, really, 2 months. And after exchanging addresses, I asked him if he would stand up with me, be my escort, my partner in the quinceañera. And even in the book, you're going to crack up because my cousin, Adrian, who we're the same age, we're just months apart, he was always supposed to be the one to stand up with me because in your family, that's what you do. Like he was close to my age and he was the boy and was going to be my partner. And I remember telling him that somebody else was going to stand up with me. And I even put his famous word in here. So you're going to have to read his response. But it was so sudden. And, you know, we haven't really gotten into this part yet. But by that point, because my dad was gone, my mom, they were remarried. Everybody's busy in the house. I'm still kind of just floating around on my own. My mom doesn't really know what I'm up to most of the time. So I remember asking her, can this guy stand up with me? And the look on her face was just kind of like, what are we talking about? You know, like who? Where'd you meet? What's going on? And like I said, you gotta get into the chapter. But I just still rolled with it. I think they kind of just threw their hands up, like whatever you got going on, fine. And so now we're going to come into the next paragraph that I have pulled, because if not, I could just like tell the whole story myself. But I want you guys to read the book. So it says, so July arrives, and I step into a white satin dress with a big hoop and puffy sleeves and a bow in the middle. I wasn't lying. You all saw the picture. A crown of white flowers circles my head, ribbons trailing down my back. The boy and his whole family drive to Indiana. His mom, dad, siblings, cousins, all of them. They roll in after the church part is over, because they forget Illinois and Indiana aren't in the same time zone. He completely misses the church mass. At first, I'm disappointed. That was the sacred part, and he wasn't there. But when he walks in surrounded by his whole family, and when I realize what it took to get them all there, gratitude wins. So, you know, it's funny that we talk about signs, because never did I look at him missing something important and not showing up for me as a sign. Why? Why did I look at that as a sign? Hello. But we see what we want to see. We find the things that we're looking for. And so I was finding the gratitude. I was finding the joy. He did make it, but he missed the whole big part. But he was going to be there for the dance. So that's a fun part anyway, right? So needless to say, it was his whole family. And I had met them several times because they played in the band and they played, you know, dances upon dances here. And so I would go with my grandma. So we kind of knew them a little bit, but they didn't really understand what was going on. You figure in a matter of a couple of weeks, 2 months, we're writing letters, starting some long distance phone calls. And my mom, if she's watching, is probably going to shake her head and be like, yeah, we remember those long distance phone calls. Part of the purpose to the message through this chapter is I was talking to a friend of mine who we went to school together, and she has kids that are in high school now. And sometimes we don't take young experiences seriously or important like we should. Sometimes we will say things like, oh, honey, you're going to get through that. That's just a phase. Or, oh, honey, like that's just something that you're going to go through, but you'll be over that in no time. Without realizing that the whole purpose behind this chapter of looking at things through the lens of God's love is love doesn't have an age limit. Love doesn't have a timestamp. Love doesn't know distance. You know, when I think of my husband today, right now, we met when he was over 5,000 miles away. So that's the meaning behind this. My experience is that it started very young, but never like disregard things, especially if your children are wanting to talk about them, because they might not understand and you might not understand, but it doesn't mean that it's not something real going on. And a lot of times I think that that's just a phase you're going through. You'll get through that. Just, screw up for a little while, but you'll outgrow it. And sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't. Okay. So one other part, and then we'll listen to one more clip. So here's where the layers kind of interconnect, because we started last week talking about how important my grandma was to me and how her faith was instilled in me and some of her beliefs and our cultural traditions and things like that. Those were really sacred and important to me. And so whenever his band plays near me, I'm there. My grandma welcomes him, feeds him in her kitchen, saves him a seat at her table. My grandma watches everything. In fact, one time when he jams a finger playing basketball but still has to play the bass, she takes his hand without asking and works the joint back into place. Quick, sure, and healed. And it shocked the heck out of him. And my grandma wouldn't do that if she didn't approve. So she makes sure I serve him food, makes sure he has what he needs. Her approval matters most. If she doesn't approve, someone doesn't last, but she approves. So as I was writing this, and, you start digging up stuff. God love my husband. He dealt with me staying up till 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Some nights I'm crying. Some nights I'm laughing. Like other nights he don't even know because he's sound asleep. But I really had to just dig through all of this. And somehow I wonder if my grandma hadn't approved of him, if something in her didn't like him, would he even have been in my life? That's how much my grandma mattered to me. That's how much I trusted her instinct, because to me, God was flowing through her. So if she didn't like somebody, we didn't like them. But if she had that connection or felt good about that person, well, then thumbs up, I'm all in. So that was just kind of an interesting thing that surfaced for me while I was in the midst of writing this piece. We're going to go into a clip. This is the chorus. This is kind of the main piece that just captures from the perspective of me actually looking back, of feeling like that princess, that queen in the moment that's in her white dress and she's twirling around and she's got all these butterflies in her belly and her whole life is in front of her. And she's finally feeling like she's not missing her dad anymore because now there's somebody else there. But written from the place that I already know the ending. So it's kind of conflicted, right? You can feel two things at once sometimes. And so here we go.
Oh, she danced like a queen under the stars alive. With every step she took, it felt like pure flight. In the arms of first love, dreams carried on the shadows crept closer with silent unease.
All right. So how we feeling? How we feeling? So yes, I'm sure we all have those moments that we can look back and we've danced under the stars and we have felt like the queen and the most perfect situation and scenarios going on. And then we're like, shh, if I only knew, if I'd only gotten the memo, if somebody would have just said, like, we all have those. And the just knowing that that experience of something as sacred as your quinceañera in our culture, like that was huge. And so that's a forever imprint. I like to call those soul tattoos because they're imprints that are truly marked on your soul. And they're going to always be there. They're going to always be there. And how you wear them, how you carry them, how you pay attention to them, you know, how they make you feel, that's up to you. It's up to you after a certain point, but they're always going to be there. And so to try to hide it or try to deny it or try to force it away, you're only harming yourself, because that would be like taking a real tattoo and trying to like scratch it away every day. It's not going to go away unless you actually physically go have it removed, but it's not going to go away. You can cover it, you can put makeup on it, you can wrap a bandage around it, but it's still there. And so when we can look at our own experiences that left that soul tattoo, that left that imprint on us, and respect it, honor it, look at the lesson in it. What was it? How is it serving me today? Don't be ashamed of it, but learn from it. Let it do what it's here to do now. And a way to do that is to look at that experience through God's love. That's what I'm here to help you do. At 16, I get my license. And the first place I drive is 3 hours to his house in Illinois. Can you imagine? Imagine like just getting your license brand new and you're hitting the interstate for 3 freaking hours. leaving the state, crossing into another state. I mean, that's pretty ballsy when some people aren't even allowed to drive to the mall, you know, unless they've had their license for a little bit. I don't think anybody knew where I was, but so at 16, I get my license, and the first place I drive is 3 hours to his house. I probably tell my mom I'm at her friend's, but honestly, no one would notice I'm gone anyway. And that's truly how I felt. No one would have been home anyway. My sister was already with her boyfriend. I don't know if she was married yet or not. No, she wasn't married yet, but there all the time. And then my parents worked all the time. So I just felt like I could tell them wherever I'm at, nobody's going to really care. Like I wouldn't, that's how I looked at it. I'm not going to impact anybody if I'm not around. Their life will not be disrupted by my absence. And that was the truth. That's not saying they didn't love me, but nothing in their lives would have been disrupted by me not being home. So I hightailed it. Okay, so I pop in my Mexican cassette tapes, right? And I watch For the Sign to Indianapolis. I know more than halfway. And my stomach flips between nervous, excited, and a little embarrassed. Showing up means getting to know each other all over again. His siblings smile at me like they've been waiting, or they know some secret I don't. You know, and I remember this moment because even though they had been there for my quinceañera, we never really had like one-on-one time, like alone time to truly talk. And I'm talking with the whole family. You know, they show up at a quinceañera, it's a reception hall full of over 100 to a couple hundred people. So it wasn't ever a setting of like, hey, let's sit down at the dinner table and get to know each other. Nope. I'm just driving 3 hours and I'm showing up at your house. And his siblings, I just remember them thinking either I was crazy or I was freaking cool. Like they couldn't figure it out, but I had made it. So
if today's episode speaks to you, Crowned by Faith is the book behind these stories and songs. You can order your copy at crownedbyfaithcollective.com.
Gina says, I was married. You got my Mustang. I gifted you for getting your license. It's my sister's fault. My sister gave me a car and I hightailed it. I remember that. She gave me her car, and it was a Mustang. It was sweet. And that sucker got me to Illinois many, many, many times. So that's right. So, okay, before we move into the next one, let's listen to one more clip here.
Years have passed like echoes. In the silence they fade. She stands at the crossroads where memories play.
So that part, those lyrics right there that says, years have passed like echoes, in the silence they fade. She stands at the crossroads where memories played. That's actually me at a point thinking of the pain that my dad left behind, being afraid of love, already thinking whoever I'm with is going to break my heart. They will leave me. Or deciding I'm going to go for it anyway. Like really being at that where the past echoes, that silence then fades. That silence is actually the silence that I reference in The Dust Didn't Define Me, when I'm left on the gravel road by myself. So I'm literally at that place of that little girl left abandoned that believes no one will ever love her again, next to somebody that could he possibly love me? But will he leave me? How could he love me? Even my dad left me. Like, just the confliction. And so I feel it's really important to share that part. Those pieces of the lyrics are really that little girl, terrified as hell, but longing for something so much and still not able to process all this. So, because I didn't even know that I had dealt with abandonment issues. Remember, guys, like, I didn't know this back then. I know it now. That's why I had to go back and look at how was I feeling? What was I thinking? What was going on? Because I had to do that in order to thrive today, as God is asking me to do. So complex, man. It makes sense because you were daddy's little girl. I was till he left. I was till I wasn't. So that piece of the lyrics was a part that I really wanted to explain, that it might look like I'm at a crossroads of where we were in that new relationship, but it was really at a point of, do I let that part go that my dad left? Do I stay in that fear, or do I go forward anyway? And that's what that was referencing. Now we're in Illinois, right? And I'm hanging out with the whole family and all the stuff. And then we go into when it's time to leave. The familiar lump of goodbye forms in my throat before I even reach the car. The moment the engine turns over, the tears come hard. Sleeve or tissues, whatever I got, tries to clear them away. My chest aches for real. I point the car toward home, play my Mexican music, and yes, some Michael Bolton too, and cry until the highway blurs into lights. Love is funny like that. It doesn't have an age limit. A 15-year-old heart can love as fiercely as any other. Love doesn't care about state lines or time zones or distance. It just is. But love also carries risk. It can hurt. It can break you. Asking him to stand up with me at my quinceañera also invites the possibility that someday he'll break my heart. And so with that, we're going to listen to one more clip here.
The tiara now resting on a shelf far away, but the spirit still lingers in the
So yeah, the tiara now resting, that experience has come and gone. And you, how does it say? But the spirit still lingers in the heart of today. As you continue on in the book, as you continue on into more chapters, you will then understand that line, because those things, they just never leave you. You can get over them and you can laugh about them, and they don't hurt anymore, but they're still there. They're experiences. They're a part of you. And instead of trying to run from them or hide from them, let them help develop you into a person that just has more depth. With every chapter, once we go through the little bit of the story, there's always looking at things through the lens of God's love. And there's also a crowned truth. Okay, these are actual sections that are in every chapter. So through the lens of God's love, I look back at a 15-year-old girl, handwriting smudged on perforated paper, a white satin dress rustling at her feet beneath a big hoop, and I smile. Today I smile. What I thought was just a celebration was really God planting first seeds: love, ache, becoming. So I can smile about that now, because what would life be like if we went through not feeling anything? Not like, you can't experience the good if you've not experienced the bad. And you can't celebrate and rejoice in the moments that are just happy and joyous and wonderful if you haven't actually experienced the moments that break your heart. Like, you can't have one without the other, or you would never recognize it as such. So when I look at things through God's love, he gave me this opportunity. He allowed me those experiences that nobody understood. Everybody thought I was going through a phase. Nobody thought, it would be anything. They thought I was nuts or whatever, a crush, whatever. And that's cool, right? But I got to look at it through the lens of God's love. And as you move further into the book, I know now it was a gift, a total gift that taught me much. So a crowned truth through this is: love at a young age is still love and is real and formative, even if it doesn't last. Even young love has the power to shape us and influence how we see ourselves. God often uses relationships, whether temporary or lasting, to teach us about devotion, sacrifice, and the resilience of the heart, and to reveal that your value is never tied to someone else's choice. And that's the crown truth. When I thought about the word devotion hit so deep, I think because it's rooted in that space that my grandma dug so deep in me. And that devotion, I felt, meant having to sacrifice in order to stay attached and committed and to be there and to support. And not once did I consider that devotion to love myself. Not once did I look at, how about I stay devoted to doing the right thing for me? How about I stay devoted to listening to what God has in my path? Not always through sacrifice, not always through staying quiet, not always through putting myself last. That's not always what devotion means. How about I stay devoted to being who God says I am? And that's the crown truth. That's the core of the start of where we're going with all of this. Because, guys, this is the beginning. We got a lot to uncover throughout Behind the Lyrics episodes. So one last clip, and then we will go into our prayer that I like to do for us.
With tears, there's gratitude in spaces between. For a moment that shimmered, she danced like a queen. Though love may have faded, the essence remains in the rhythm of laughter, in the joy and the pains.
All right, so we are getting there. Denise says, that's deep. Devotion to love myself, devoted to be who God wants me to be, us to be. Yes, yes, Queen, I know. And let me tell you, I wish it didn't take me 50 years to figure that out. I wish it didn't take losing everything and all the multiple layers of heartache and all the things. But you know what? At least it's here now. But yes, that is the crown truth. So again, in every chapter, we have looking at things through the lens of God's love. That's kind of your own experience. But then what's his truth? What's the crown truth of all of that? And through this chapter, the Quinceañera Promise, that young girl just wanted to be loved. She wanted to experience somebody paying attention to her. She wanted to know that she wasn't invisible. So many things. And it's also the start of thinking that she had to put herself last in order to keep all that. And it'll unfold as you go through more chapters, but that's actually the start of it all. This is the start of a lifetime of a lot of heartache, simply from that place of never valuing myself or putting myself first. And that is not selfish. And it's amazing at certain types of individuals will make you feel like you are selfish for simply wanting to do what's right for you. And I think of that today and I'm like, wow. I want to ask God, what does that look like? What does that look like in your eyes? We have to be devoted to ourselves first in order to be the best version of ourselves and ultimately improve our impact in the lives of others all around us. That's not being selfish at all. So like I have, if there's any, and I want to say, if there's any questions, if you've gone through anything, even from any of the other chapters, ask me. I was thinking about that today while I was getting around, and I always have to get myself in like this space. Like I said, I still get nervous. I think I was texting with Denise and I even told her I still get nervous. I'm getting ready. But how many times have you read something and you're like, man, I wish I could ask what this person was thinking when they wrote that. Well, ask me if something pops up for you or you're curious about something. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great. And as we dig in further into the depth, this whole soundtrack will take you on an emotional journey. It is going to take you into some dark places. I'm going to be sharing some crazy, real and raw stuff, but just by listening to the soundtrack, you're going to feel it. If there's ever anything that you have a question on, just ask, because I am being used right now as a vessel through this whole project. And I'm not ashamed to talk about anything that I've been through, because chances are somebody out there will need to hear something or it wouldn't be here. For whatever reason, so many of us thought that love had to come from someone to fill something. And not once do I recall ever being told to seek God to learn how to love ourselves. You know, God was always someone to pray to. God was always somebody that was over there, and we had to be good for him to see us. Not once do I recall being told, love yourself first and most, ever. So it's amazing at how we grew up looking for it. We were seeking it. We felt good if more people paid attention to us, and it might have not been the best attention. It could have been things that ended up hurting us in the long run, but we're here to change that, and it's not too late. So for us that, you know, are older, it is not too late. We can start now, but by us doing this work for us now, we can impact and help the generations coming up behind us. Because if we all just loved ourselves a little bit more, and we all saw ourselves through the lens of God's eyes, and we could see each other through those same eyes, wouldn't we look at each other so differently also? We would. Denise says, I love you saying that because I have often been told is not Christian like to be selfish. Absolutely. And there's selfish, like mean girl selfish. We know what that is. Like, you know, like you can be a selfish bitch. Let's just say it. And it's not about that. It's about taking that time. That's my retreat. Why my retreat is called self-ish, because you need that time for yourself in order to be better for anybody else. As we begin to start to wrap it up, check out everything on crownedbyfaithcollective.com. All the songs are there. They connect to our YouTube channel. So all the subscribes, likes, shares, all of that, guys, I'm just going to say it, is very appreciated. But let's do our prayer, and then we will close out for tonight. And then I will just remind you that next week we will be talking about the chapter titled Christmas Eve, and the song is Silent Night, Broken Heart. And it's going to be a deep chapter, but it's one that I feel is appropriate considering Christmas Eve is the day that my husband passed. So, all right, so here we go. Dear God, thank you for the promises of youth that teach us hope, trust, and love, even when they unfold differently than we dreamed. Thank you for every person who crossed our path and showed us the power of connection. For the reader holding memories of first love or the ache of broken promises, remind them that nothing is wasted with you. Every joy, every heartbreak, every letter of their story is safe in your hands. Fill their heart with peace for what was, strength for what is, and hope for what's ahead. Your love is steady and unfailing. Keep writing their most beautiful chapters. In Jesus' name, amen. So I am praying over you that you write your most beautiful chapters yet. They're still in front of you. So it's time to tap into what he is sharing with you, flowing through you. I always like to say, be a river, not a reservoir. So open yourself up for whatever is just going to flow, and let it come through. Don't let it sit and collect. So thank you guys so much for being here. This recording will stay up for a bit, and then we actually take this, edit it, and then it goes on Roku. So it's streamed out in 17 countries on my Prospera TV network streaming channel. And so I do appreciate all the love and the support. And here we go, guys. We're going to sign out.
If today's episode speaks to you, Crowned by Faith is the book behind these stories and songs. You can order your copy at crownedbyfaithcollective.com.
Crowned by faith.
never talked about. Pero mírame ahora shining anyway. God help me when I felt alone, and now my heart beats louder, brighter, ready to claim everything He promised. No more hiding who I am, no more dimming this glow. He turned my scars into stories, and my stories into fuego. I'm crowned by faith, look at me shining bright. He healed my corazón and helped me win this long fight. I rise con fe, with joy in my veins, dancing out the darkness like it never had my name. Crowned by faith, that's who I am. Crowned by faith, this is my comeback dance. This is your Prospera era, where dreams align with grace, abundance flows like rivers. You've stepped into your place. Rise, reign, and remember, you were born to shine. Welcome to your moment, Prospera, it's time.
We hope you enjoyed today's show on Prospera TV network. Make it a point to visit us on YouTube and catch all your favorite shows anytime you want. Interested in hosting a show of your own? Or advertising your business on our network? Contact Elena Rodriguez.
We are queens, yeah, let 'em see, ruling the world, full of energy, masking labios, we're fierce and bold, own your story, let your colors unfold. So we're the queens, standing tall and proud, in a world full of colors, let your voice be loud, Besitos beauty, we're the fire, the light, empowered, unstoppable, ready to ignite, grab your shades, it's time for the glow, confidence in color, let the whole world know.
Chicas, I'm feeling.
Let's go. Red lips on, lights down low. We don't hide, let the realness show. Every chica got a fire inside. Tonight's the night, no compromise. Ooh, corazón, feel the rhythm take control. Sisters rising, breaking chains, unstoppable. Chicas, unfiltered. Dance it out, let the world get lifted. Chicas, unfiltered. No mask, no fear, we're gifted. Hands high, corazón, let's ride. Queens of the night, can't hide this vibe. Lip gloss, tequila shots, we laugh, we cry, turning heartbreaks into battle cries. Glow so fierce, we set the tone, unapologetic, we own the throne. Dale, move your body. Sisters rising, nobody can stop me. Chicas unfiltered, raw y bonita, power y fuego, nuestra vida. Chicas unfiltered. Turn it up, let the soul get lifted. Chicas unfiltered. Yeah. Unstoppable queen, so gifted. This is our time, our story to write. Together we ride, together we shine tonight. Yeah, it's the badass way. All the mamas in the house, let's slay. 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 a queen, watch me